Hi, welcome back again to SOMO. Digestion of salt begins in the mouth just as a part of overall digestive system, and salt itself doesn't undergo significant chemical changes during digestion. It plays a crucial role in the overall digestive system. This process contains mucus to replicate food and the saliva which contains electrolytes, that is including sodium ions, and most food naturally contains some amount of salt. Salt is a compound in the form of crystals that consist of sodium and chloride, and some salts are added iodine. Rather, its ionic compound are made of sodium ions and chloride ions. Salt ensures the transmission of electrical nerves impulse to and from the brain and the construction of the heart and other muscles. It turns into electrolytes once it is dissolved in the blood and other bodily fluids. And sodium is the main positively charged electrolyte called cation, and it makes up the fluid that the cells bathe in it, while chloride is the main negatively charged electrolyte called anion in the blood. And both sodium and chloride are the electrolytes of the highest concentration in the blood compared to other electrolytes. What are the functions of sodium in our bodies? Sodium is one of the primary electrolytes in the body alongside with potassium, chloride, calcium, and magnesium. And sodium transmit the nerves impulses around the body. When a nerve impulse is generated, sodium channels open, allowing sodium ions to rush into the neuron. The influx of these sodium ions initiate the depolarization of the neuron's membrane, leading to a propagation of a nerve signal. And it regulates the electrical charges in and out of the cells, tissues, and organs. And by this it means fluids and vitals minerals can be passed into and out of each body cell depending on its individual needs. And again, this sodium facilitates in controlling our taste, smell, tactile process, and helps muscles to contract. And one of these muscles is our core muscles, the heart. So sodium is so crucial for muscle functioning, including both voluntary muscles and cardiac muscles. And always remember, sodium is the essential nutrient, but our bodies cannot produce itself. So for us to survive, we need to consume sodium regularly. And without sufficient sodium in the body, senses would be dulled and nerves won't function properly. It will also be affecting muscles control and other neurological processes. Also, sodium plays a role in maintaining the body's acid-base balance, that is our pH levels, alongside bicarbonate ions, which used to buffer and regulate pH levels, helping to keep the blood and bodily fluids within the appropriate pH range for optimal enzyme function and metabolic processes. Sodium ions are also often co-transported with glucose and amino acid in the small intestine to facilitate the absorption into the bloodstream. Now let us see what are the functions of chloride in our bodies. Chloride facilitates in digestion process. It preserves the acid balance throughout the body, and it helps to carry carbon dioxide from tissues to the lungs. Rather, chloride ions are involved in the production of hydrochloric acid in the stomach, and this hydrochloric acid is very important for breaking food particles and also sterilizing ingested pathogens and aiding in the absorption of nutrients, especially calcium and iron, and as well as potassium. It also helps in maintaining fluid balance alongside sodium and potassium, so to maintain proper hydration and blood volume. Chloride ions help sodium ions in electrolyte balance, and as well helps in acid base balance, that is our pH level, and they act as a buffer, helping to neutralize excess acid in the blood, thereby preventing acidosis. Another function of chloride ion is in the immune response, where they are involved in the function of white blood cells and immune response, helping to regulate the system activity and the body's defensive or defense against infections. And in the kidneys, they help to regulate chloride levels in the body by reabsorbing or excreting chloride ions as needed to maintain electrolyte balance, and the process is so essential for overall hemostasis. Now let us look at iodine, which some salt are added or some table salt are added iodine, and some usually don't have iodine in them. Iodine is a mineral we also need, and it's found in table salt, food, and fruits. It's also essential in our body since it's the main building block to the thyroid hormones, and its deficiency will decrease the body production of T3 and T4, enlarging the thyroid tissues, causing diseases like goiter, hypothyroid, or hyperthyroid function. Also, this function of iodine in our body are related in thyroid gland. Also, thyroid hormone synthesis, and this hormone do regulate body's metabolic rate and also energy production, overall growth and development, particularly during pregnancy and infancy. Also on the same, there is development of brain and nervous system in fetus and infants. And they as well influence various metabolic process like utilization of carbohydrates and fats. Thyroid hormone do regulate body temperature by influencing the body's metabolic process, and iodine can help detoxify the body through excretion of certain toxic elements like bromine, chlorine, fluoride, which can interfere with thyroid function. And also iodine can be used topically as antiseptic to treat minor cuts, wounds, and skin infection. Sodium and water needs varies in each individual based on their age, their daily activity, their body weight, and their healthy or health condition. Sodium is primarily found in the extracellular fluids, including fluids which are outside of the cell and in the bloodstream. It assists in regulating the volume of extracellular fluid, which in turn affect blood pressure and overall fluid balance. And the body will carefully maintain the sodium levels to ensure a proper hydration and blood pressure. Sodium ions are responsible for controlling osmosis and the movement of water across cell membranes, that when the sodium levels are high outside the cell than in the inside of the cell, water tends to move into the cell to equalize the concentration of the solute, and this process we call it osmosis regulation. And this mechanism do help to prevent cellular damage from fluid shifting in and out of the cells. But if sodium levels drop too low, water from the blood will go into tissue cell in order to increase the sodium back to normal. Though this fluid shift can lead to cellular swelling later. But again, if the sodium in the blood goes up, the water will be pulled out of the tissue cells and into the blood in order to lower sodium levels back to normal level. Though again, this can as well cause cellular shrinkage. And that means both cellular expansion and cellular shrinkage can be harmful, which is why our body will do anything to keep normal sodium level. And again, that's why salt intake and balance are so tightly regulated in our body. And if the body is not able to do all this balancing, a low sodium or a rapid drop of sodium levels can result in dangerous effect like rapid brain swelling, or it can lead to too much water in the brain. In all this, kidneys do play a very big role in regulating sodium and water balance, in that they filter the blood and absorb sodium and water as needed to maintain proper fluid balance and blood pressure. And in case there is an excess sodium, then it's excreted in urine when necessary. And we have a hormonal system which helps to control sodium and water balance by influencing how much sodium the kidneys reabsorb. And it is called renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. And beside being excreted through urine, when the sodium levels becomes too high or too low in the bloodstream, the body's thirst mechanism is triggered and encourages one to drink more water or reduce water intake, so to help restore balance. Sodium is as well lost through sweating during physical activity or maybe on a hot weather. And on one side, sweating helps regulate body temperature. But at the same time, it results in loss of sodium, and that's why sports drink often contain electrolytes, which includes sodium, so to assist in replenishing what is lost. And when one feels they have high sodium intake, they can just increase their potassium intake, which has the opposite effect on blood pressure. So sodium and water are not linked in the body, where sodium helps regulate fluids balance, osmosis, blood pressure, and cell function, while water is essential for life and is influenced by sodium levels. And maintaining the right balance of sodium and water is critical for overall health and well-being of human being. And before salt gets into the shelf or store, it goes through a refining process where impurities are removed and it's added anti-caking agents which help to absorb moisture, and also iodine is added to some salt so to help prevent iodine deficiency. Salt acts as a preservative by reducing the availability of water in foods, thereby depriving microorganisms from using available water as a nutrient and decreasing enzymatic activity. The growth of pathogen and spoilage microorganism is also avoided or delayed in the presence of water. What we need to know is that our bodies cannot function properly without adequate salt, and consuming little salt may actually increase the risk of heart disease. And we don't need to worry so much because the body will naturally excrete any excess unneeded salt in the body. And sodium and chloride play a vital role in keeping our bodies functioning. And if we miss this or lack these vital minerals, we will become weak, our muscles will become weak as well and have cramps. So if we lack salt, we won't function properly, especially elderly people, pregnant women, and those individuals who exercise regularly. And this is because their body are under pressure. And for like the elderly, they don't drink a lot of water or fluids like young people. So during hot weather, they sweat and they don't replace the water. And sodium is needed to maintain their healthy body. And later, if it is not sorted, it can lead to thickening of blood, which can increase body pressure and can well lead to heart attack or stroke. Salt is needed to maintain the optimal amount of blood in our bodies. It's even needed by the heart to pump blood throughout our bodies. Cell-to-cell communication, bone formation, strength, and prevention of dehydration. In some people's kidneys have trouble keeping up with excess sodium because as it accumulates, the body will hold onto water to dilute sodium, and this will increase amount of fluid surrounding cells and volume of blood in the bloodstream. And this results to more work of the heart and more pressure on blood vessels. And if this continues over time, blood vessels will stiffen, leading to high blood pressure, heart attack, heart failure, and stroke. And in some research, they say one can damage the heart and kidney without increasing the blood pressure, and it may be bad as well to our bones. So why will this salt with so much beneficial and have been used for thousands of years should only in recent year be discovered to be so harmful to our health? And now They say that sudden increase in salt intake stimulate sympathetic activity of central nervous system, while in former days it was considered to arouse passion and desire. And it was the first to be put on the table before food, and it was the last to be removed after the feast. See you next time for another episode, still on salt.